live already. Bye-bye. Thank you. Good evening, Bhante and all Kalyana Mitra Suki Hontu. I'm Aliana and welcome to Ti-Ratana Vihara Amapadana Friday Sutta discussion class by Bhante Dr. Dhajagga Chandima. This is the day of 103 of the Sutta discussion class. Tonight is the first class of Dhajagga Sutta with topic the introduction of Dhajagga Sutta. Dhajagga Sutta is the 10th sutta from the total of 10 sutta that have been chosen by Bhante Chandima for this sutta discussion. In previous classes, Bhante has discussed about Mangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, Metta Sutta, Sigalovada Sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Sabbasawa Sutta, Pattakama Sutta, Samajivi Sutta, and Alawaka Sutta, which Bhante has elaborated those sutta in depth. For those who have missed our previous classes, please check on Ti-Ratana Vihara Amapadana Clan's Facebook page and YouTube channel. We have uploaded the previous 102 classes there. We are always welcoming newcomers, therefore whoever that wish to join the class via Zoom where we can engage directly with Bhante can contact us on Ti-Ratana Vihara Amapadana Clan's Facebook Messenger or even can contact the Vihara directly through WhatsApp. Now, please allow me to introduce about our speaker. Bhante Dr. Dhajagga Chandima is the Associate Editor of the Journal of International Studies, or JIBS, which is published by the Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University in Thailand. He was previously a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society, or CSRS, at University of Victoria, Canada. Bhante Dr. Chandima was also Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada, from year 2012 till 2016. Bhante is currently the Senior Advisor to Patisota, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussion, Dhamma talks, and a variety of other Dhamma activities. His Dhamma work can be accessed at www.patisota.blogspot.com. And we also can follow Bhante at Patisota Facebook account. Without further ado, we welcome once again Bhante. And as always, thank you very much for the wonderful guidance and teaching. Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aliana, for the introduction. Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back to TRV Friday Sutta discussion. We are going to be discussing suttas from day one, and today is a new sutta. As you can see, it's Dhajagga Sutta. So before we get started, shall we pay respect to the Buddha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so today we have Ariana, Margaret, Jessica back here, Kim, Melinda, Jessica and her husband, Kelvin, Sabiris, Tisilin, the online, Cheng, Barbara, Sumita, Chaibi, Jacqueline, Eva, Wong, Brother Musamana, AM. I hope these have names, Cindy, Yo, Aaron. So, welcome. I hope that you all received the text and translation of the new sutta. This sutta is called Dhajagga. Dhajagga. Dhajagga means Dhaja. What does Dhaja mean, Ali? Dhaja?
Banner, Bhante. Is it banner?
Banner. What else? Dhaja?
Flag. Flag.
Flag.
Flag. Flag. You could also call standard. It's another meaning for someone. Let's say someone has a particular flag. We call that particular flag as standard. It's not a country's flag. Maybe a personal flag. You know, in different countries, they have different flags. In terms of now the national flag, let's say the king's flag, the prince flag, things like that. We call it a standard. So, Dhaja Agga. Agga means Pali word Agga. Agga. Anybody?
Agga.
The
Agga.
Top.
top
Agga means top.
the topmost, the highest.
The highest, or the another of perfect knowledge.
Agga has many meanings. One is the top, let's say the greatest, right? So Agga carries many meanings. But here Agga means top of the band, top of the standard. Now when you say Dhaja Agga, the top of the band, right? What do you think the place of the top of the band? Where could it be? If you take a flag and the flag is being hoisted now already, it's there now. You can see it's waving. Like you remember the Zen discussion. Two meditators were arguing each other in a Zen story. One says, what is it? One says the flag, what do you call, waves to this side. Let's say to the right side. The other meditator was arguing with the person, saying that the flag is waving to the other side. Could be the right side, left side. And then the master in the Zen story says, it is not the flag that waves, but your mind. Your mind waves. And you see that the flag is waving to the right side and the left side. In our normal life, we witness this. Sometimes you run into some of the fights just because of very tiny, small things. If you look at the larger, broader area of the matter, I think you would have been very unhappy about that initiation. I could have not started this unnecessary conversation, right? Because normal people would like to pick up everything, right? Utujjana. Our nature is to pick up everything. What did you say? I think you said something wrong about it. Huh? Like picking up everything. We don't have to pick up everything. Sound, sights, smell, taste. You don't have to. That's why the Buddha said you have to use your sensory experiences. What do you call sensory experiences within a certain awareness. It doesn't mean that you are going to have a sensory deprivation. What is sensory deprivation? There are people who think that if I want to meditate, the best thing is to close everything, close all the sensory channels, close eyes, then maybe close ears, cover the ears maybe, and then not trying to smell, not trying to taste, then not trying to touch, not trying to think. But there are people who say when they close their eyes, they get into a lot of objects. They are visualizing the person, they get to a lot of objects. But when it's like a Zen meditation. They say don't close your eyes in meditation. Open your eyes. Then you know where you are. you see only certain people. But for some others, when they close their eyes, they get to a lot of things. Maybe heaven, hell, beta, temple, loved ones, everything, right? They cannot have a balance with what is happening by closing their eyes. So the idea here is that we were talking about the flag. Now, when you look at the top of the flag, this was considered as a sign of looking for the support, right? Now, in a what do you call ceasefire, the two parties are fighting, and there's an international mark that if somebody is trying to hoist a white flag, and the other party should stop attacking, right? White flag means that they are surrendering to the other party. Let's say if the other party is hoisting the white flag, still they continue to fight. That's a breach of the international law. The flag represents a lot of things. Now, in the same way, in this sutta, the Dhajagga Sutta, the story is, what happens in the story is that there are two parties who are always clash each other for their power. Sura and Asura. Sura means devas. Asura means non-devas. Actually, they were kind of devas before. They were living with the devas before. They were living together with the devas. But somehow, these particular people who are being called by asuras by the devas themselves, they one day drank a certain drink too much in the Tawatinsa heaven. Then what happened? They got drunk. They were very much intoxicated. Now you think about devas also drinking. They get drunk. What about us? Why don't we? This is a wrong understanding. But these particular devas at that time, they were asuras later on. They drank something and they got intoxicated. They were not sober. Then Sakka pushed them, chased them out of the Tawatinsa heaven, saying that you are not anymore devas. You are called the anti-devas, or asura. Sura is deva, and asura means non-devas. Right? And then there comes often fights between Sura and Asura. Asuras also don't withdraw. They also want to fight because they know the problem. They were chased out of the tower. They want to fight back. But what happened in this battle, in this fight, continuous fights, they normally devas getting scared. They was got scared all the time. So they were looking for the help. And then that is how the story unfolds. And I think we can go back to that place at a certain point. And then they inform Sakka, the head god, dear Lord, when we are fighting with asuras, we often get frightened, terrified, horripilated, stupefied, and we have no help. What to do? Then Sakka said, if that happens to you, should that fear arise within you with the asuras, then you can look at certain devas top of the stand, top of the flag. Varuna, Pajapati, Isan, they are very powerful devas. You have to look at the top of the flag of those particular devas. What does it indirectly mean? Those devas are also in the battle. Otherwise, how come they're going to look at it? They are fighting together. So then they are looking at they were supposed to look at the top of the banner or maybe top of the flag of those individual devas. And then if none of the devas, if none of the devas flag not going to help you, at that point you can look at the top of my flag, Sakka. But eventually it also did not work. That means devas still continuously to be frightened, terrified, or horripilated from the attacks. And then they approached the Buddha. and then told the Buddha, Bhante, we are in a fight, we're getting scared, and can you give us a help? And that's how the sutta unfolds. And then finally, Buddha talks to them that in case if you get scared in the war with the asuras, you can think about the 9 great qualities of the Buddha. Me. Araham, Samma, Sambuddhu, Vichachana, Sampanno, Sugatu, Lokvidu, Anuttaro, Kusadama, Santi, Sat, Ademanusa, Buddhu, Bhagavan. But should the fear, terror, horripilation continue to arise, even after contemplating about the Buddha's 9 great qualities, at that point, you have to stop thinking about me and contemplate about the 6 great qualities of the Dhamma. Swakato, Sanditiko, Akaliko, Ehipasiko, Opanaiko, Pachatam Veda, Bovinyo. Now, even at that point, should any fear, terror, horripilation continue, you have to stop thinking about the Dhamma, then think about the Sangha, the 9 great qualities of the Sangha. Supatipanno, Ujupatipanno, Nyayapatipanno, Samijapatipanno, Ahuneyo, Pahuneyo, Dakineyo, Anjalikaraneyo, Anuttaram Punyakirtan Lokas. 9. Then I guarantee you, rest assures that your fright, fear, terror, horripilation must go down. That means Sangha is the last resort. Because when you say Sangha, Buddha is also part of the Sangha. You can't take him out of the Sangha. I think we can talk about that at different levels of the Sutta discussion, saving information about that such. So the idea is that this is the only Sutta where Buddha talks about on-the-spot help. We don't find it that kind of an outright on-the-spot help. Are you facing situations where you get initially, immediately feared, terrified, horripilated? I think you might have done certain things. You might have think about Itipiso Bhagavara, Namo Tassa Bhagavato. But nobody thinks about the Dhamma. Nobody knows how to think about the Sangha. It was just a fear statement. So the Buddha says you have to switch onto the rest of the qualities. Because by the end of the Sangha's 9 great qualities statement, your fear must go. Now, in the commentary, it is said that, I would tell you one very good example. There is a pagoda in the eastern province in Sri Lanka, Digavapi. It is said that when the Buddha came to Sri Lanka, he went to Digavapi, near eastern province. Now this pagoda is not a pagoda like before. It's kind of a dilapidated place. And it said that Buddha spent some time after the lunch. So there was not a pagoda at that time. So later on, kings and monks, they were building a pagoda in that place. So there was a monk who was going to probably paint the pagoda. Somehow he fell down. He fell down from the top. Then the other monks told, hey, please chant Dhajagga Sutta. Immediately. Think about Dhajagga Sutta. It is said that he was safe. He landed on 2 nice bricks. He could manage to, save from the damage. Overcome the damage that he was supposed to have. Now, don't try that. Don't try to see whether this works by falling down from a higher place. You might definitely, injure yourself. Because it has to be real. It has to be authentic, real, organic. And that is how you have to feel it. But today, you understand, anytime you going to have a fall, you have no other help. You are so helpless. It's not like that you go to the bathroom and you are going to be, having a fall in the bathroom. And you have a lot of ways to save yourself. But you are thinking, no, it's okay. I won't think about Dhajagga Sutta. Nothing will happen to me. And you knock your head on the post, and you probably go into a coma or something. Don't try to use Dhajagga Sutta for those things. But let's say if you have no other help, if you are really helpless, even maybe in times of fear and all these places, you can think about the Dhajagga Sutta story and how did the Buddha ask us to think about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. It is said that it can help. So today now, you then learn something new. Then this is the importance of Dhajagga Sutta. So in order to understand Dhajagga Sutta's significance, I thought I would discuss with you about the chanting today, because this is part of the chanting. This is going to the chanting, right? While there are some suttas, they are recommended for chanting, why there are not many other suttas that are not taken as chanting? How are these classifications being done? Is there a scientific way to be done? Or is it just a cherry picking? Somebody says, oh, you pick this sutta, this sutta, this sutta, they are good for chanting. Others are not good for the chanting. How was this happening? How was this done? Anybody knows how did the chanting selection of the suttas for chanting made? I think you have a chanting book, right? This chanting book normally prepared by a certain monk in a vihar, right? You never ask about how did you select these suttas. These suttas mentioned in the Sutta Pitaka, but some suttas are not mentioned in the Sutta Pitaka. They are Mahayana kind of chanting. They are not mentioned in the Sutta Pitaka. Now, say for instance, I'm not going to discourage you, but trying to tell you something interesting. Let's say there is a sutta, Vassa Paritta. Vassa Paritta. Said, I'm going to type it for you. Vassa Paritta. Vassa means rain. When there is no rain, if you chant this couple times, rain can come. Is it interesting? It is said. But let's say you keep chanting this sutta, rain is not going to come. It is not the chanting's problem. It is your problem. Sometimes people are blaming, oh, this chanting doesn't work. Huh? Maybe I chant in a wrong way. I make a mistake here. Because you should have the intentions to think about it. You know, I remember there was a true story when the Portuguese colonized Sri Lanka a long time ago, in the 15th century. They went to a certain village, and then now they are starting to proselytize, convert people into Christianity. And then now there was a what do you call? There was a drought at that time, no rain. So they asked the villagers, the Portuguese officials asked, what did you do when there was no rain before? Said that by the time there were a lot of monasteries here in Sri Lanka, more than now. And then what we normally do is that we go and meet the chief monk and the other monks. Then we take one Buddha statue, kind of a Buddha statue. We bring the Buddha statue in a procession in the village with some respect. So then rain starts. Right? Now, the Portuguese official didn't want to bring the Buddha statue. Then they said, okay, take the St. Mary's statue. We're going to bring her around. And then they did that. Then rain starts. Look what happened. The same effect. St. Mary and the Buddha. Now, this is something that we don't understand. We should not understand that the both are equal. What we understand is that when many people get together, make a wish, then it can happen. It's not the power of the statue. It's the power of the mind of people. Right? That is what happens. So then the, what do you call, chanting. Chanting book. Actually, there are three types of chanting books. One is made in Sri Lanka during the Anuradhapura era. Then we call it Chatubhana Varapali. That is from your chanting book was made in most of the Sri Lankan temples. So their chanting book is made from the Chatubhana Varapali, which was made by the monks during the Anuradhapura era. So they picked certain suttas from the Chatubhana, from the Sutta Pitaka. But I was trying to say that now in the what do you call new chanting books, they have the Vasaparita. That means when you chant that, there could be way. And there are other many chantings. Even the Jayamangala Gatha, we don't find in the Sutta text. Bahut Sahasramabhini. These stanzas were made by the Siamese monks, Thai Sangha, and then they added. Right? So there are a lot of things as such. So we have to understand what was the Buddha's original chanting, what was added later on. But doesn't matter at a certain point because there is a certain power from many areas. So in order to understand about the chanting, we need to know the chanting from many aspects. Now, if you look at many aspects of the chanting, you will see the first one is the power of the truth. Satchakiri. The first importance of the chanting is the power of the truth. I need to write it here. Power of the truth of the chanting. This is the first aspect. Now, in order for us to understand the power of the truth, then we must chant the original suttas. That is how we're going to see that is going to be a truth. Now, in another place in the Sutta Pitaka, we find a very interesting example about the power of the truth. This power of the truth works in many ways, even in the wrong way. Now, accepting that you had done a wrong thing, it is the truth, right? Confession is also a truth in a way. There is a story, I think it is in the Itivuttaka, Pali, Buddhaka Nikaya. There was a couple, I think I shared with you a long time ago. You should regular members know. This couple, they had a newly born baby. So they were bringing the baby to a hermitage in the forest. On the way, they were trying to stop by at different places to take some rest. And they somehow, on the way, when they were taking a rest, their baby was attacked by a cobra. Now they were very, they were very, overwhelmed, and then they didn't know what to do now. There's no place to bring, but they knew that if they walk a couple kilometers from there, they could go to the hermitage. So somehow they managed to bring the baby to the hermit, ascetic. Then asked the ascetic, we were coming to see you, but when we were resting before we come here, our baby was attacked by a cobra. Can you please help? Then this is how the power of truth. It's very interesting to know that how it works. Then the ascetic told him, I've been a monk ascetic for 15 years. So my Satchakiriya, truth of assertion, can only go for 15 years of practice, my vows. Then he said, okay, by the assertion of my practice for 15 years as an ascetic, may this baby get back to normal. When it is said that the poison of the cobra that was from head went down to the chest of the baby. That means poison went down to the chest area from the head. Now we understand that when we were bitten by a snake, especially a very poisonous snake, these ancient peoples normally say that you don't get panic about it. Once you panic, your blood flow keeps going faster. That means the poison also then circulating around the body very fast. Don't just be panic. Just panic. Say it's a small snake. Don't worry, it's not a cobra, right? So the patient is going to stay calm. But if the other people are saying it's a cobra, it's so dangerous, so poisonous, then the person is trying to panic, then the poison can easily go to the heart. So in this way, we understand the poison is circulating differently. So with the power of the truth of the ascetic, the poison went down to the chest area. Then the ascetic told the couple, I did my part. Now the poison went down to the chest area of the baby. You both should do a Satchakiriya, asservation, do asservation of the truth differently. Then it was a chance of the lady. And then she said, this is what she was saying. Ever since I married this person, I stopped loving him. By the truth of that asservation, may my baby get back to normal. Interesting. It was true. She did not start, she stopped loving him for whatever the reason. And then the poison from the chest went down to the thigh area, thigh or leg area. Then the ascetic asked the man to do the same thing, power of what he called asservation, Satchakiriya. Then what he did was that, I have no anger towards the cobra who stung my baby. So by the power of that truth, may he get back to normal. Then what happened? Poison went away from the whole body, even from thighs and legs from the body. Now, what does it mean? This power of truth through the chanting, through an asservation. Sometimes you don't need to have a chanting, right? Sometimes, now, in order for us to understand the truth, you know your truth. Others never know sometimes. What you've been doing so far, truthful things and false stuff. You can think about your own truth. I have never killed any being. I have never stolen. I have never sexually misconduct. I have never lied. That's a big challenge. Huh? I have never lied. I have never bad mouth about anybody. I have never hurt anyone with my speech. I have never gossiped or idle chatted. I have never wished someone's death. Right? When you normally ask from other people, how many people you kill in thoughts? In one retreat, I got an answer, 5 people. I said, who are they? Maybe family members. When you were mad in the household, this person could have thought about, I wish the death. Right? So it's an internal conflict, right? Which we never, we are not supposed to ever do it actually. So if you have never done that, kill other beings, even in a thought, if you have never been very greedy about what you own, what you don't own, you never had wrong, what you call belief, wrong view, then you can do your own asservation. You don't have to go to a monk initially for doing that because you know what you have done. In the same way, if we have done wrong things, I know what I'm doing. I want to accept myself, acknowledge myself. That is also truth. There is no wholesome truth or unwholesome truth. Huh? Truth is truth, right? If truth is truth, then remembering the truth creates power, right? Now, think about the witchcraft people, the black magic. What they are doing. They are not doing wholesome stuff. If you look at what they are doing, right? I remember one couple I know in one country, they are in Canada, when they were in a gas station, they were what do you call? They were taken by some of the people in that country, and now they are very panic about it. But at a certain point, when the car was stopped somewhere, they start thinking about Karaniya Sutta. They start chanting too. Then the people in that country, those people who were kidnapping them, they think, they are doing the black magic too. We gotta run now. So they ran out of the car. I think they are doing the same thing for us because they are not stopping whatever the things they are saying. Must be truthful because that means the truth can work in both ways. But what we need to understand is when it comes to the chanting, everything in the chanting, they are truthful stuff. So power of the truth. The second is the power of the virtue. The significance of the chanting, the power of the virtue. The power of virtue. How do you understand this? Power of virtue? Is it the power of virtue of the person who initially chanted, or is it the power of the virtue of the one who is chanting for you now? It is the both. It's even a bad person can take the chanting book and keep reading, isn't it? Even a drug addict, even a serial killer can pick up the chanting book and can read because they are in the Romanized letters, or they know the language. Just because reading that, it might not give the full benefits, because in the chanting, it is highly emphasized, highly, what do you call, emphasize that the chanter, the one who is chanting, has to have a certain sila. That is how the chanting will give you the full benefits. Now, we have no problem about the original chanter, put down some arahants. So definitely the virtue matters. Now don't connect the dots. If your chanting has not worked, don't go back and then connect the dots. But what I'm saying is that this affects. The third importance of the chanting, significance of chanting, is the power of compassion. Yeah, the power of compassion. You can call it karuna. Power of compassion. That means the Buddha asks everybody, especially other monks, when you chant a sutta, you should have a heart as compassionate as Bhante Ananda. Bhante Ananda is the one who has the most compassion after the Buddha. Bhante Ananda, he was a Sotapanna person, but his heart is second to none to the Buddha. He has the most compassion after the Buddha. So the Buddha said, if any monk is going to bless anyone, they must have a heart like Bhante Ananda. Because with the compassion, may this person be well and happy, may this person succeed, may this person meet with success, may this person have more compassion, I would say patience, determination to overcome all inevitable problems, difficulties. This has to come not from the literal sense, not from the head. It has to come from the deepest place of the person. The deepest place is the compassion. So the power of compassion matters in the chant. If you haven't been blessed enough, if you think that the chanting has not worked enough so far, think about the power of the truth, power of the virtue, sila, power of the love, compassion. The fourth one is the power of the sounds. That's interesting. There are some devotees who are saying that I can chant in my own way. I don't care about how other people chant. The power of sound. Does it matter? Does the sound matter? Does the way how I pronounce the Pali matter? Because I have my own good intentions, right? There are some monks complaining, when we chant with the devotees, some devotees, they make mistakes. So whole chanting is going to go down. Another slippery slope. So better not to chant with them. We chant, they listen. But sometimes when you chant alone, when the devotees don't have anything to do, they are just looking at you, it's kind of boring. Better to chant together. So then they know they have something to do, like Bhajanga chanting or Dhammacakkappavattana. But the problem is it important to chant letters, Pali letters properly? Yes, it is. Otherwise, you can chant wrongly. Right? Like the Western people who might say Buddha. Who is the Buddha? I mean, because they can't pronounce it, but at least we appreciate how they chant. The Buddha, we understand Buddha, There's an aspirate. Right? At the same time, the Pali words. Now, let's say, for instance, Itipiso Bhagava. Itipiso Bhagava. BH. Arahan Samma. Sambuddho. Vicharana Sampa. Sugatu. Lokavidu. Anuttaro. Not Purisa Dhamma. Purisa Dhamma. Light emphasis. Huh? Not Purisa Dhamma. Purisa Dhamma. There's a light intonation in there. Not a very strong intonation. Some people are thinking they are messed up with the Dhamma. Dhamma. Purisa Dhamma Sadha. Purisa Dhamma Sadha. Then not Satta. Sattha. Deva Manusana. Buddho Bhagavati. Yes, Tisili, you have a question?
Bhante, sometimes
Normally I actually ask people to question later, but yeah.
sometimes they chant in English, then how, Bhante? Got no power.
Sometimes they chant in what?
English.
Uh-huh.
Instead
No,
of chanting in Pali, they chant in
the-
English.
Okay, anybody can chant in their own language. If they cannot chant in Pali, I think they don't know how to chant in Pali. So what we say is that because there is something that we don't know in this chanting. What is it? There are non-human beings who are trying to listen to the chanting, even to watch the chanters. So they don't feel it. You will feel in your own language. They know this Pali. They know this Pali. Because the Pali language has been the main language for the chanting. So when you pronounce the Pali letters, it has more effect than other languages. So what we say is that, okay, you start with your own language, but one day you should come to the Pali. You pick up the chanting from your own language. That is how we do it, right? It's like that we pick up our own mother language first and then pick up English later, right? We pick up our language first, our mother tongue, and then gradually, if we want to study another language, we go to pick it up. So one day it has to come because Itipiso Bhagava Arahan Samma Sambuddha, you can't get that impression in English. The Buddha is, what do you call, how they say that? Arahan. Samma Sambuddha. They say Buddha is a lucky one. You don't get that feeling from it, out of it. But we do it for young people, teenagers. But if we talk about from the chanting aspect, definitely the more significance comes from the original Pali, because this is what the Buddha and others exactly chanted. That is something to think about. So now we are looking at the significance of the chanting based from the sound, the power of the sound. It's very important. That means we should be able to, what you call, pronounce, articulate Pali letters in the proper way. That's very interesting. Okay. It's a message. If it is wrongly chanted, that no, chant will be effective in a certain way, but not fully effective. That is why I'm trying to tell you how does the intensification progress of the chanting happen. But it has to happen through the truth. You have to chant something truthful, and the chanter who is chanting has to be on sila. The chanter has to be having a lot of compassion, and then he should properly pronounce. Otherwise, this is going to be a problem. Now, there's a book in the canon. We don't have it in our canon. Thai canon and the Burmese canon, in terms of the Kuddaka Nikaya, they have a book. We call it Milinda Panya.
Oh.
Milinda Panya. I will write it here. It's not in the Theravada, the Sri Lankan canon. Milinda Panya. Milinda Panya means questions. Panya means questions.
Yeah.
Questions of King Milinda. All right. This book is a post-canonical book in the Sri Lankan canon, but in the Burmese and Thai canon, they have added it as a Kuddaka Nikaya book. So their list is not 15. It is going more than that. In this book, what's happening is very interesting. There are chapters about dilemma, trilemma, some dubious conversation. One of the dubious conversations, actually, the two people who are having the questions and answering, Nagasena was the monk. There was a very famous monk after Ashoka, Venerable Nagasena. The person who is questioning is the king, Milinda, who was a Bactrian king. There was a country called Bactria near Greece at that time. I'm talking about the Ashokan era. It's beyond Gandhara, the modern Afghanistan. So it's off Afghanistan, between the Europe and Afghanistan. This whole area is called Bactria. So during the Ashoka's time, the Greek support, Greek and the Bactrian support for India was very high. But after the Mauryan kingdom fell down, because there was a marshal who took away the kingdom, everything fell off. That's how the Middle Easterners, the Arabic influence was high. And then, the Mughal invaded India, even Nalanda University. 12,000 monks were burned, actually, during their Dana time. So what we need to understand here is that this Bactrian king, Milinda, came to India. He was questioning this monk with very interesting questions. Even a normal Buddhist cannot think about this question. One question he's asking under the dilemma, the chapter on dilemma, two paradoxes, I would say. This is also true, this is also true, but how to understand the proper truth? The question is, Bhante, does chanting work for everybody? Very interesting question. Now, we also understand that when something happens before a certain good activity, marriage, wedding, even new babies coming, pregnancy, work life, relationships, oftentimes monks are invited, or maybe people go to the vihara, they want to take blessings. So we have a very strong belief that chanting must work no matter what. So in this question, King Nagasena asks, Bhante, does chanting work at all times? Then Venerable Nagasena points out a certain text from the Sutta Pitaka. This is in the Milinda Panya. He's quoting from another place. He says, no. If the person has Kammavarana, I'm going to write it down. Kammavarana means, please save your questions. I'm going to be taking them later. Kammavarana means, what do you call, bad karma done in the past. Then these are what you call chanting hazards. Chanting doesn't work to some people when they have it. Number two is Kilesavarana. Due to one's own kilesas, defilements. Number three, the third hazard to the chanting is Asaddhanakaya. Asaddha means lack of trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. All right, so he points out these three issues when it comes to not having any effect from the chant for some people. So he said, when some people have done some bad karmas in the past, very bad karmas, chanting doesn't help. Because of that, we cannot stop chanting. But when you understand by yourself why I'm listening to the chanting every day, I'm inviting the Sangha to my house, I'm always playing the chanting, recording every day, but why I'm still struggling a lot? Why my life has been very tough so far? Why there is no way out for this? Think about it. Could be. Number two is Kilesavarana. You have too many kilesas in your mind. Lobha, dosa, moha is too much in your mind. So chanting does not bless you. That means in order to get good chanting blessing, you must have a certain meditation, isn't it? You should have a certain meditation to empty your mind from the bad akusala. Third thing is asaddha. That means lack of trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Some people don't have a lot of trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. They just go for their own blessings. Now, Venerable Nagasen explains this to the king, King Milinda. So this shows that chanting is supposed to help everyone in whatever the way, but in order to get the full blessings, there are certain things that we have to understand, especially these 3 hazards, and then the 4 ways to look at the chanting. Now, I think for probably 40 minutes, I've been talking about the chanting and the power and all that. I think now you understand that chanting is something that you have to understand within a certain context.
Bhante,
Before we go to the before we
factors,
go to the rest of the things, if you have any question, you can ask now. Otherwise, you might forget the questions. I will
Bhante,
first
all
take
Oh.
yes.
all the factors you mentioned earlier apply to both the chanter as well as the listener, or both parties.
Pardon me, I didn't hear that properly. Before what?
No, the factors that you mentioned earlier, including the Kama Varana, Kilesa, and all, does it apply to both the chanter and the listener?
Why not?
Both parties.
Yes, this is a two-way chanting, right? It's a
Yeah.
two-way thing, It's like turning on a light from upstairs, and you're going to turn off from the bottom, from the ground floor.
So if the chanter is not virtuous, that means no power lah. But
If the chanter is not virtuous, even because of that condition, the blessings of the real chanting will be cut short in a certain way.
okay. Thank you, Bhante.
But this does not mean that you have to go for a better monk or Sila monk or whatever, right? Don't do that. It's not nice. But you should understand what's going on, right? Because we cannot understand who has the Sila, who don't have the Sila. But if you want to see a certain framework, how does it work? Yeah, it is. Yes, Annie, you have a question?
Yes, Bhante. For the first aspect of chanting, right, power of the truth, Bhante said that the chant must chant the original suttas. So these original suttas, are they the suttas that were actually made by the Buddha and not those that come after the Buddha?
Well, I think I had to add something to that. I was initially saying, yes, we are supposed to chant, because why do we pick up the later on stuff? We have to go back and chant the original suttas. But it doesn't mean that when you are chanting something made by senior monks or whoever later on, it does not affect you. It might. It's like those Portuguese officials replacing the Buddha statue with the St. Mary's statue. It worked because you have your saddha and all that. But better to pick up the original chanting. Like when you go for a holiday, you are trying to eat the local food, right? You are not going for a Starbucks or that kind of a food chain, American food chain. You're going to look for the original one, authentic local food. In the same way, if we study Pali, why don't we pick up the original suttas? Why we pick up these later on stuff? I think it's common sense. Then you will read them too, but they are later on added into the text. I'll pick up another one question.
Bhante.
My meaning of wrong, as in wrong pronunciation. Kim, what is your concern here? You mean pronunciation?
No, because you said, Bhante, that if you don't pronounce correctly, then the chanting is like not so effective. Is it
No,
you need?
it is still effective because you have the saddha, but you won't get the full benefit out of it. Because the benefit is ranging from certain levels to some other higher levels. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. All right.
Bhante,
Then
can I ask something? Just now
yes.
you did mention, does chanting work for everybody? The answer is no, or what?
Chanting.
Just now the question was,
Well,
does chanting for
yes,
everybody?
chanting supposed to bless everybody. Now, what is the
Yeah,
blessing?
does it work?
Everyone takes it differently. There may be
Yes.
someone who might think even the hearing of a chanting makes them happy. But
Yes.
chanting has its own weight of the blessings. Now, number one with the blessing of the chanting is to save that person from an impending death. Right?
Okay.
Now, this is one very important blessing of the chanting, benefit of the chanting. So, let's say someone has done a lot of bad karma in his or her life, in previous life. Chanting cannot help at that time because he has to suffer. He will go through that. This is something that we have to understand. But there may be someone who has done certain bad karmas, done more good karmas. Then with the chanting, he or she can be benefited. So the individual karmas are the game changer here. It changes the path of the chanting, the path of the cause of the benefits of chanting. So
So
we usually say, yeah.
It depends on the individual
Individual.
to receive the blessings.
Yes.
So because there are cases, people who are very weak or sick or whatever, we don't know what is the condition. Normally, we like to chant for them. So in other, whether they receive full blessings or not is all in the three factors that you mentioned. Is up to them, right?
They are the one that are mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bhante.
It's like somebody eating papaya, then getting constipation. When some others eat the papaya, they have the opposite of the constipation. How does it happen? Papaya is good. Why do two people go through two problems? Two things. One is having constipation. Well, normally, it is supposed to have loosening the constipation. But why some others having constipation? It's not about the papaya. It's not about the chanting. It's about the individual issues in his or her life, sansaric life as well. So then this is how we have to look at it. I think we will take one more. Yes, Barbara, and then we will go to the Dhajagga Sutta a little bit. Yes. Can you please unmute? Barbara, can you please unmute?
Okay. I remember Bhante was saying before that if you chant the words, Pali words wrongly, it may turn into something else and some other meaning, maybe from a meaning to a negative meaning. Is it correct?
Yes, let's say there are non-human beings who know the Pali chanting. Now you are going to change the pronunciation, change the way how you are supposed to chant. They pick it up wrongly. They will not be happy about it. Right? It's a simple argument, right? Let's say now you are chanting, you say, oh, I don't know Pali, it's my fault. Please forgive me. But the non-human beings, they may not have compassion on you. They are trying to listen to you, what you are chanting. And suddenly you are chanting very bad stuff for them because of the wrong pronunciation. They are not happy at that point. Sometimes you may be attacked by them. Who knows? Mentally, physically. So that's why it's important to chant properly. So you would have a grace period if you are in a class for the first couple of weeks. You would be having a grace period. Don't worry, they understand that you are learning. But if you have learned long term, you have no excuse for that. Yes, the grace period is over at that point. All right, let's go to the Dhajagga Sutta at this point.
Can take one more question?
Yes, yeah.
What if we chant, we use YouTube? As you see now, YouTube a lot of, let's say, if I want to chant Mangala Sutta or Ratana Sutta, and I'm using YouTube, you know.
What do you mean by using? That means you follow what is being broadcast, or you just listen to that chanting from somebody else chanting?
Let's say I'm using Bhante Dhammapala chanting of Ratana Sutta. So I on that YouTube and I chant together with that. Is it okay? Is it?
Yeah, it should be okay.
Is it efficient? Is it effective?
Do they display the text on the screen?
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay.
So can use that, nah?
Yeah.
Let's say if you have a recorded sutta, for example, Karyana Metta Sutta, and I'm using your YouTube to do the chanting. Is
Yes,
okay.
that is good. But my suggestion to you is that try to chant alone by yourself.
Without
Don't depend on a Bhante one day. I also do, and
okay,
other monks
okay.
also do. You do it time to time every day, but one day try to chant alone. Then you know what is it like. You
Without
take the challenge. Pick up a book, grab a book, and read by yourself. You feel happy, and you are taking a challenge, and finally you can chant alone.
okay.
That's the ideal level of the chanting. One day, not maybe you may not be able to do it in a day or two. That should be the plan.
All right.
Otherwise, you have to go by a collective chanting all the time.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Then we go to the Dhajagga Sutta at this point. Let's just see. We are going to read a little bit of Dhajagga Sutta today. Okay, Dhajagga Sutta. Today we are going to finish up until 5. I hope that we can finish by that point. Who would like to read this part? Anybody? Maybe number 1 and number 2?
Bhante, I try.
Yes, please.
Evam me suttam ekam samayam bhagava savatiyam viharati jetavane anathapindikasa arame tatrako bhagava bhikkhu amantesi bhikkhavoti.
Okay, great. Sumita,
Thank
I
you,
will
Bhante.
give you the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, now this is a narration. This was not given by the Buddha. One monk is narrating this. Evam me sutang. Evam means thus or this way. Me means by me. Sutang, heard. Ekang, once upon a time. Samayang, the Bhagavad, the Buddha, the perfect name, the Buddha. Savatyam, the city. Savatya is sojourns, I would say staying. Jetavani, Anathapindika Sadami. So, in the temple called Jetavana, which was built by Anathapindika. Tatrako Bhagava, there, Bhagava Bhikkhu Amantis. The Buddha addressed the monks. Bhikkhavu. Bhikkhavu means Bhikkhu, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhavu. Plural. Plural. Bhikkhavu. Okay. We can ask Sumita to read this part, 3 and 4. Yes.
Okay. Badante ti te bhikkhu bhagavato pachas sosum bhagava etadavocha.
Great. Badante, the Badanta. Badanta means what do you call? The master, the Lord. Bhikkhu, those monks, pachasoso, responded, pachasoso to the Buddha, Bhagavata. Then Bhagava, the blessed one. Why don't you see the Pali word Buddha for the Buddha actually, the blessed one? Why suttas only give Bhagava? Why we see Bhagava instead of Buddha? I think I shared with you some information long time ago. When you read suttas, why suttas always mention Bhagava instead of Buddha?
Bhante, can I try? Is it meant for higher level of enlightenment?
So Bhagava is
Only the
Bhagava is
spirit.
a Samma Sambuddha specific epithet. You know, we have epithets for certain people. This epithet is only for the Samma Sambuddha. Buddha is a common epithet to all the Arahants. Arahants, Pacceka Buddha, Samma Sambuddha.
Yes.
It's a common epithet. It's not only for the Samma Sambuddha. So that means if you really want to appreciate the Buddha, you have to think about the Pali word Bhagava. You think about Buddha. You know. Bhagava is the most specific epithet for the what do you call? Now we call the Buddha, but Samma Sambuddha. And then Bhagava Etadavocha. Etadavocha means Etang Avocha. There is a combination. Etang Avocha. D is a substitution in Pali. This D must not be there, but because the two words are combined together, Etang Avocha. There was a what you call nasal at the end of the first word and then vowel in the first word of the second word. So then what happens? Vowel is being substituted by D, a tada voce. Otherwise it should be etan, avuch. Now this is going to be substituted by T, a tada voce. You don't need this lot of Pali stuff, but I just told you. Okay, now the last area section. Who would like to read this part? Anyone? Eta the voce.
Then I will try Bhante.
Yes, please. And
Buddha Pubbang Bhikkhave Devasura Sangamo Sammupatbulyo Ahosi Attako Bhikkhave Sakko Devanang Indo Deve Tavastimse Amantesi Sache Marisa Devanang Sangama Gathanang Uppajeva Bayang Va Chambithatang Va Lomahamso Va Mam Eva Tasmin Samaye Dagjagang Ulloke Yatha Mamang Hivo Dajagam Ullokayatang Yam Bhavisati Bayang Va Chambithatang Va Lomahamso Va So Pahisati.
interesting. Thank you. Let me read
Okay,
to Bhuta Pubbang Bhikkave Devasura Sangam Samopa Bulho Ahos Atha Ko Bhikkave Sakko Devana Mindu Deve Tavatinse Amantes Sache Marisa Devana Sangamagatana Upajjaya Bhayang Va Chambitattang Va Lomahanso Va Mameva Tasmin Samaye Dhajaggang Ullokeyat Mamang Hivo Dhajaggang Ullokeyata Yang Bhavissati Bhayang Va Chambitattang Va Lomahanso Va So Pahisati. This is a story which the Buddha told monks actually. Now, don't think that the Deva and Asura came to the Buddha at this point. The Buddha wanted to tell the monks that there was a battle between Deva and Asura at a certain point. Still the battle is going on. So it's a continuous struggle between them. He wanted to tell the importance of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. That is why he brought this up to the monks. Let's see the translation. Bhuta Pubbang. Bhuta. What is Pubbang? Pubbang means in the past. Bhuta. There was in the past, monks. Deva Sura Sangam. Deva means Deva, normal Deva. Asura means those, what do you call, ex-Devas. Yeah, we call them ex-Deva. They are not, their Deva status were reprimanded by the Sakka. I'm not going to give you Deva status anymore. Chase them out to the Mount Sumeru. In Buddhist cosmology, they talk about a Mount Sumeru, a focal point of the whole universe. So they were chased down to the top of the, maybe to the bottom of the mountain, Sumeru. Now that's explaining. Samupabbulho ahos. They were arrayed for battle. Samupab, arrayed. Athako bhikkave, then, monks. Sakko. Sakko means Devana Mindu. Sakko is not the personal name of the Sakka. What is the personal name of the Sakka? Any thoughts? It's like the Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni is his personal name, right? Gautama or Shakyamuni. In the same way, what is the personal name of the Sakka? Indra. Indra is the personal name. Sakka is an epithet. It is an epithet. Epithet means a certain praiseworthy term which was used to understand Sakka. How did the Sakka get the epithet called Sakka, Indra? How did he get that word? Any thoughts?
From Indriya faculties, mental faculties, Indriya.
Yeah, that is another meaning of the Pali word Indra. I mean, how
Indra.
did the Sakka, Indra, get the epithet of Sakka? Sakkachang danandatva sakko. Why? In the previous many lives, this particular Sakka, the Indra, had given lot of dana according to the Sakkacha way. I think you should know this. How to give a dana within the Sakkacha way. What is Sakkacha? Sakkacha means inquiring from the recipients, what do you want for the dana? It's interesting. Huh? What do you call up the monk and what do you want for the dana? You want to give a gift to somebody, you are questioning, inquiring. Otherwise, you bring something you want and then they're going to eat. You know whether they like or not. Never know. So sometimes it is, I think, if possible, I think some devotees don't do that. Maybe they are embarrassed to do it. Some monks are embarrassed to say also. But if you have a good, monk lay people relationship, you can ask what do they want. Not even for a sangha member, but also from someone who would like to get a gift from you. So sakkacha means dana that is given by inquiring what the recipient wants. I think that's good. Some people don't like to ask because in case the recipient says something more expensive, that's going to be a problem too, right? Because you can't afford it, right? So you can only ask from someone who understands your affordability, isn't it? Otherwise, if they say something more expensive, you can't afford it. So let's say every condition is favorable to you. The person who is accepting also is very understanding your affordability, but very open to talk about it. And you want to do it in that way also. So both conditions are going to work and you are going to give the dana in the sakkacha way. So this Sakka, who was at the Buddha's time, had offered many dana in his previous lives in the sakkacha way. So when he became the Indra, he was given an epithet by other devas. You are Sakka. So the Pali word is Sakkacha. Sakkachang danam datva sakko. The Pali term is this. This is how we got it. Sakkachang danam datva sakko. If you want to become a Sakka, do the dana in the Sakkacha way also. Huh? Want to become a future Sakka. All right. So then now, go back to the text here. Devana Mindu, you can see his real word, Indu, but his epithet is Sakku, because he has done a lot of dana in the Sakkacha. He called upon other deva in the Tavatinsa. Sache Marisa. Sache Marisa. Marisa means, you can see over here, if dear sirs. That means when the Sakka is addressing other devas, he addresses them in a nice way, right? Dear sirs, Marisa. Not that, hey, fellow men, listen to me. He's not talking like this. He has to respect other devas because they all came here. They all came here as a privilege, right? As a privilege. Now there are rights that every devas carry. He can't, single out certain devas. So he said, such a Marisa. Marisa means, hello, sirs. Devana Sangama Gatana Uppajjaya. You can see here. Now, when you Deva, you search Devas, when you are going to fight with the Asuras, in case or should you come up with a certain fear, Bhaya means fear. Then Chambitatta. Chambitatta means terror. Certain terror. Lomahanso. Lomahanso means? Lomahanso means? What is the simple English word for this? Lomahanso? Simple English word?
The hair rise.
Butterflies. Okay. Should you come up with some butterflies? And are there any English words for this?
The hair on ends.
Goose pimple.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Goosebump, yeah.
Should you come up with goosebumps or
Mm.
maybe butterflies? That means you have horripilation. That means lomahanso. Yeah, lomahanso. So baya means fear. Chambitatta means terror. Lomahansa means goosebumps or butterflies. In short, we call it horripilation. Should you arise or should you become fearful, terrified, horripilated, then I would ask you to look at the edge of the flag, the stand, Dhajaggang ullokaya. Mamang hivo Dhajaggang ullokayatang bhavissati bhayangva chambitatvam. So whenever you are going to look at, whenever you are going to look up at the top of my flag, any fear, any terror, any horripilation you may have will be abandoned. Now, what did he say initially? He initially said, when you have a fear, terror, horripilation, during the war, you can look up the edge of my top of my flag standard. Then your fear, terror, goosebumps, butterflies will go away. Right? Okay, so that's what this paragraph says, and there are more information, but I'm not going to go into them. I'm going to keep the rest of the same paragraphs. The difference is the Deva name, Pajapati, and what do you call here? Pajapati, Varuna, we have discussed about them, and then Isan. We will do these ones next day. So, Sakka initially asked, or Indra initially asked his fellow Devas, in case you come up with fear, terror, horripilation, don't worry, look up the edge of mind. Actually, whenever they look up the edge of the top of the banner, they feel Sakka is with us, so we have to fight. We have to fight with new motivations. He's in the ground field with us. It happens, right? Let's say there is a war happening. The what do you call, maybe the Air Force commander, maybe the Army commander is going to the ground, and the soldiers getting motivated. He's with us too. The president is landing there. In the same way, he's asking his fellow Devas, don't worry, I'm in the war as well. You look up the edge of my flag, then you will feel encouraged. Actually, it happens, right? When you feel encouraged, your fear will go away. That's what happens in the normal battlefield, in any war. Right? So this is what the sutta says up to this time. All right. Any questions about the chanting that we discussed today and the Dhajagga Sutta's section, which we discussed so far?
Bhante, when we chant in Pali, but the listener does not understand Pali, does it work?
Okay, so I understand this way. The monks are chanting, and then the listener does not understand the Pali. Is it still getting benefited?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's say I meet someone from another country which I don't know his language or her language. He or she says in whatever hand language, I'm going to do something good for you. And then I'm happy. Okay, do it for me. And then I only have the happiness of somebody I don't know doing a blessing for me. But I don't know what they are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a partial blessing, a fractional blessing. It's better to know as much as you can. Better, it's better. It doesn't say there is no benefit at all. There is, because you are happy. You know that this person is going to do something good for you. But it's better to know the chanting in terms of what they are chanting.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Yes, and you have a question?
Yes, Bhante. Back to the chanting, right? If a person is very ill, maybe due to his own bad karma, but there are a group of people who can satisfy all the aspects of chanting. Will the chanting help the person who is ill?
It depends on the person, the individual who is sick, and then the persons who are chanting. So we are going to look at the conditions, eligibilities of the both sides. You think about the chanters who have no sila, they go to the hospital with the chanting books, they start chanting. And then the person has no mind but had done a lot of bad karmas in his or her life. But now both are happy because when I die, somebody's there for me. But how does the power of the chanting go to that person's life? There should be a way. So less bad karma, less akusala, less defilements, more sattva. And then the person has to be, having sila. They have to understand what they are saying. I think that will be more beneficial. Now, even this applies to dana. If you go to a sutta like Dakkhina Vibhanga Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya, maybe I can give you the number. Dakkhina Vibhanga Sutta. That's a very interesting sutta about Dakkhina Vibhanga. All right, Majjhima Nikaya is 142. Can read later. 142. This sutta is Dakkhina. Okay, the Buddha talks about how does the effect of dana work in this sutta. Not all danas work. In order to have the full effect of the dana, one must do it in this way, proper way. The Buddha talks about couple danas, the 4 danas in this sutta. Then one of the things for dana to be fruitful, really going to work is the sila of the person who is having the dana and the sila of the person who is giving the dana. So dana is not that you buy something from the grocery shop and bring to the temple, give it to them. You must be a sila person too. The person who are having it, receiving it, should be sila too. You might forget about these two. Who cares about my sila? Who cares about their sila? I bring something. You will do something. You'll be happy. But internally, the invisible aspect of the dana is not going to work. That is what we are expecting, actually. Right? So, in the same way, chanting along with the dana. In order for all the good virtues to work, sila represents a bigger part.
Thank you, Bhante.
It's
Bhante, you mentioned about power of the sound and pronunciation. Okay, but the Sinhalese, the Thai, and the Burmese way of chanting are different. So what is your thoughts on it?
they think they chant correctly. This is the answer. If you ask from them, they say we chant in the proper way. So that is the answer to this question. So what? I mean, if you ask from a certain person from that country, they say they chant properly. But the problem is, if you learn from Sinhalese Sri Lankan chanting, you pick up, they are not chanting in the proper way. They are not pronouncing well, right? You pick it up.
Correct.
Right? So then we are not picking up any country. We have respect for them. But we feel, although, they are saying as such, they may have some problems. That's why I think I'm not going to favor Sri Lankan system, but we have to understand Pali comes from Sri Lanka. It doesn't come from Burma or Thailand. Sri Lanka is the place where the oral chanting, oral transmission of the Sutta Pitaka, everything was compiled in the books. Then we have a certain favor for the Sri Lankan system. Then it went down to other countries. Right? So normally we feel that the Sri Lankan chanting is more clearer, and then what do you call them? They pronounce each letter mostly. That is what I understand. It's not just a favoritism. It's something that we understand. You understand this as me.
I think the Sinhalese alphabets are similar to the Romanized Pali alphabets. Quite
Similar
similar.
to?
The Sinhalese alphabets.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's similar to the Pali Romanized alphabets.
Yeah. That's why when the
Yeah.
chanting is done by a Westerner, and when the chanting is done by somebody from a Sri Lankan background, you see the difference. So that means someone who has learned Sinhalese language has better understanding of the words in Pali.
Yeah.
If that person has studied Sanskrit, there's a full understanding. Sanskrit, Sinhala, Pali, they all go together. So then you understand every context really. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. Bhante, I understand Sanskrit got different types, like classical Sanskrit and whatever Sanskrit. Can Bhante mention a few?
Sanskrit has two main areas. One
Okay.
is the Vedic Sanskrit,
Vedic.
language Sanskrit in the Veda books,
Okay.
1500 BC. That means 1500 years before the Buddha's birth.
Okay.
The Brahmins lived at that time, who came from Persia, the modern Iraq and Iran. They called both as a one country, Persia. They came to India. So during that time, that Sanskrit is called what you call Vedic Sanskrit.
Okay.
And then after a certain time, probably during the time of Kalidasa and Bharati, these classical writers, Sanskrit took a turn. Then that Sanskrit is very, what you call, more mundane and more, what you call, it's not any more amateuristic, more mundane. That Sanskrit is called classical Sanskrit.
Oh, okay.
Those books like drama books, didactics and all that. You don't have to learn Sanskrit. I'm telling you, if there's someone who has the Sanskrit background, who knows some Sinhala, then touch the Pali. That's going to be a very wonderful effort. I mean, things are going to make clear very well.
Bhante is very fluent in Sanskrit, right?
All right, any more questions? So I think maybe one or two questions. Today we started learning Dhajagga Sutta. Dhajagga Sutta is very important because the Buddha says this can really help your fears, terror, horripilation go away. So I think this is a common thing we are going through every day. You know, when we hear things that we don't like, when people maybe criticize you, when things like fear is a common thing every day, right? So you can think about. Maybe so far you've been thinking certain chants, but today onwards you can think about Dhajagga Sutta. And we'll be studying more.
Bhante, one question.
Yes.
Let's say when we go into a hotel, sometimes we can feel some sort of like very eerie feeling, that we feel
Strange feeling
scared.
when you go to a hotel. Mhm.
Yeah. And sometimes we've heard, oh, this hotel is like haunted now. Why are you staying here? That kind of thing. So this sutta, can we chant this sutta as well? Or what is the
Definitely.
best sutta for this sort of situation? Is it Karyana Metta Sutta or what sort of
No,
sutta?
this sutta is the best.
Oh, okay.
Karaniya Metta Sutta was given to monks. You know why it was recommended for the monks? The monks went to the forest, they started meditating. But each tree that they were occupying, there was a deva. The devas didn't like monks trespass into their trees. Then the Buddha said, you have to first send metta to the devas who are already occupying in the tree and then do your meditation thing. Devas also don't like meditators come to the forest and do it without respecting them. But this sutta is exactly for fear, and it's case unspecific actually. That one is a case specific one, the Karnima Sutta. Dhajagga is case unspecific. It is going to work for any situation, anytime, any situation. So I think this is much better. Actually, when you learn the Buddha's 9 great qualities, Dhamma's 6 great qualities, Sangha's 9 great qualities, you will have a very wonderful understanding about the triple gem, Ti-Ratana. So that can really, help you overcome fears and then terror and all these things. Much effective. It doesn't underscore Karimata Sutta, but this is the most important one in terms of fears and what you can do on the spot. Now, not many people feel the same when you go to a hotel. How many people going into hotels, right? Not many people feel it. But if you, there are people who might think, there were people who were in this room before me. Maybe some people who might have died, who have come here before. If you go to the hotel room with that kind of a suspicion, you will get scared, definitely. There are how many people have come to this hotel? This is an ancient hotel, Intercontinental Hilton. But these people who have come here 10 years before, they might have died now. I'm sleeping in the same bed now. Oh, you get scared, definitely. Other than this, but if you feel that kind of a bad smell in that place, that could be a different thing, right? So there are a couple of ways to look at it. Nobody has to think about other people who have come here, passed away before me. You just go and enjoy the time and come back. Other than that, there's no reason to suspect the hotel room. But some people feel something extraordinary. It's a different thing, like you said. All right, I think, yes.
Bhante, can I ask one thing? You see, when in a time of crisis or fear, we need to have this sutta within us to chant straight away. Then, sometimes we may not have the book or something to refer to chant at that moment. So, Itipisu will be the shortest and it helps, right? Then I find that if at that moment we need it, it has to be memorized inside. So is it that highly recommended to memorize this or Ratana Sutta or what? I mean the basic one, the 9 qualities of Buddha and all that. So in time of in need, at that moment, the shortest one is the Itipisu Bhagavara.
Take this way.
Okay.
Now the example is someone is going high up to paint a building. Same example,
Okay.
that monk who
Okay,
was
okay.
painting the Digavapi pagoda in Eastern Province. Now he is falling now. You think that he can think about Ullokiyat, Dhajagga Ullokiyat. It's a very, very short time. How to think about the whole chanting? No, what you are thinking about is the story. The Buddha said this, and then 9 great qualities. I have to think about them. That kind of a shorter version of the whole sutta. Kind of a synopsis. A synopsis. Not the words. There are
I
people who
see.
are very much scared. Now, say for instance, someone is going into a haunted place. And then, because of the fear of the haunting things, then they are being shaken and they are then saying, Itipiso Bhagavara. No understanding of what they are actually. They are more troubled by these people. That means we have to have a synopsis, kind of a easy version that is in our mind about the Dhajagga Sutta. That has to come. Ratana Sutta is more towards a different narrative. It's about warding off a big issue in the what you call Visala city. Maybe it's a different approach. I think
thought
this
it's
is
also to clear the evils and all that in the village those days.
yes,
This
but
sutta was
that is the most structured sutta. Nobody can think about Ratana Sutta in the moment of time, isn't it?
Yeah, too long.
It's too long. Yeah, that's the problem. It's because if it is too long, in a split second of time of and danger, you can't think about it. But this one, you can think about the story very short, very quick, and go to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha very quick. And as we learn this, you will understand this is very effective actually. That it doesn't preclude us in understanding Ratana Sutta. This Ratana Sutta we done long time ago. But in terms of our personal accidents, personal dangers, what we understand, Dhajagga Sutta is the ideal actually. for those
Okay.
situations.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it is beneficial to memorize Dhajagga
Synopsis.
Sutta.
Yeah, like a synopsis, like abstract of the whole.
Yeah.
Question? Yes.
Bhante,
Yes.
the short would be like for Mahayana, right? Omitofo, 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 all the way.
No, we
So-
have to
Oh, what is the shortest?
learn from that part, that Mahayana chanting, you know, why they say, ask people to do it actually. That shortest way of chanting. The more you chant that particular word, the more you get blessed. That's why our Theravada, some people they call Theravada, their way of chanting, they don't feel it right away. They have to, concentrate about it. Do we have a very shortest way possible chanting when something happens? So that's why I'm saying we have to have a synopsis, everything in the shortest way possible. So we don't have something called Amitabha, but what we are saying is that Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Buddha is the first, Dhamma is the second, Sangha is the third. And it will help me.
So
It will help me definitely. So that this way of a shortest way of thinking about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha will help us.
So in short, instead of like Omitofo, Omitofo, you say Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha.
You know,
Is it?
you can say the both actually. If you are believing in Amitabha, you can say that, and you can say Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha too. Why not? Bring the both. Yes. There are so many questions. I'll take one
Yeah.
more. Yes, Sumita, your question.
Yeah, Bante. How about we say Buddho, 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 or Itipiso, Itipiso, or Arahang, Arahang? Because we cannot remember at the time of emergency, we can only remember Buddho or Itipiso or Arahang.
Very
keep
very
on
good, very
repeating.
good question. Let me tell you something
Yeah,
interesting.
thank you.
When someone has studied the 9 great qualities one by one for some time, then the moment that person says Buddha, all the 9 interpretations come to the mind of that person very fast. When someone has studied the 6 great qualities of Dhamma, studied sometime, when they say Dhamma, those 6 come together. Sangha, those 9 come together. So we should cultivate, we should study them to an extent that understanding will come up with the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha 3 words at a
I
certain.
vouch for that. Yeah, I vouch for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
vouch for that.
that's how it works.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Bante.
One question, Bhante. When in fear, can we chant 3 refuge? Buddhang Saranang Kachamin, Dhammang Saranang Kachamin.
Yeah.
Very short.
Yeah, this is what Devadatta said before he passed away, monk Devadatta.
Oh.
So the monk Devadatta told other monks, his fellow monks, I want to see the Buddha. Other monks say, hey, don't go to see the Buddha. Buddha is angry about you. He said, no. The love, the metta he has for his son Rahula, and he has for the Nalagiri elephant and Angulimala. And for me, the Buddha has the same metta to all of us. But when he came to the pond near the Jetavana, he started saying, Buddha Saranang Gacchami, Dhamma Saranang Gacchami. At that time, Buddha came and then reordained Venerable Devadatta. Because Buddha knew if I did not reordain him, if he passed away in this way, he would have been in the hell for many lifetimes. He will not be able to come back. Because he reordained just before he was taken by the hellish beings, he will become a Pacheka Buddha in the next life called Attisara. He was reordained. So I think we don't need to follow monk Devadatta. So we will follow something interesting. So you say Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and we then understand. All right, I think time is too long at this point. Let's transfer all the good karmas to the departed ones and share good karmas with the Devanaga Mahindika. May all the good karmas we be making today be transferred to all the departed ones. May they be well and happy. May they attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me nyati nan hontu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nan hontu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nan hontu sukita hontu nyatayo. May Deva Naga Mahitika so share all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of us for good health, quality of life, prosperity, and safety. May they in particular bless all of us for our Dhamma journeys. Finally, may Deva Naga Mahitika attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha amihi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amihi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amihi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha Chibumatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumuditva Chirang Rakhantulu Kasasanam. Akasattha Chibumatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumuditva Chirang Rakhantulu Sanam. Akasattha Chibumatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumuditva Chirang Rakhang Tuman Paranti, Chirang Rakhang Tuman Sadati. At the same time, in this directionless sansaric journey, may we be able to be in the company of Kalyana Mittas who can support us, who can sustain our Dhamma journey. May we be not in the company of Papa Mittas who can pull us out from the Dhamma journey. Thinking thus, we're going to make the wish. Imina punya kamena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu yavadi bala patiya. Finally, may all the good karmas we've been making today by knowing the chanting, how the blessings of the chanting work, how are we supposed to understand the chanting, and also a preliminary background knowledge about the Dhajagga Sutta. May all these good karmas be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana siddhis nichang baddha pacha ino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvano sukhang balam. Ayuraroഗ്യ sampatti sakta sampatti me vicha atu nibbana sampatti iminati samichatu. Sadhu, sadhu. With that, our sutta discussion for today is over. Wishing you a good night. We'll be seeing you next Friday.
Bhante, thank you for the guidance.
Thank
you
you
so much, dear ones.
Thank you,
Good night.
Bhante. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Have a
Thank you.
good weekend.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Sadhu.
Bye. Bye. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Good night.